Not exactly having a warm day on the Jersey Shore, but at least you can be warm with me right now here through a shared universe in Red Bank, New Jersey. What's going on? I'm Rob Acampora. This is the A game. I think if you keep me score at home, this should be episode 136 or 137. I lost track of the count, so I apologize. Please follow me on my YouTube channel. It won't cost you anything. You just subscribe, and you can get all the episodes you got before this. Christian,
did you say 137?
Yeah, 137. You went 37 on me. Thank you so much. Marilyn Gigliotti would be so happy. I got to have her back at some point, by the way. By the way, my guest is coming in from L.A. He is a gentleman who I got to thank Ray Roldan for all the work that he does at Ray B Promotions, because he's brought me so many great acts. And when you talk about independent music, I think this is sort of the forum for independent artists to do. Doing more podcasts gets the word out on their music more than ever. And I think Imaad Wasif can defend that when he comes on screen. We will talk to him about his new album, which is now, I believe, available, called Super Consciousness. So please welcome Imaad Wasif to the A Game. Thank you so much for coming on, sir.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You're somebody who's seen, I think, both ends of the spectrum, because now you've established your own imprint, your own label, you're releasing music independently, but you've also worked with bands like the Yeah Yeah Yeahs and Folk Implosion. So you kind of know both ends of what it's like to be with a band who's been on a major label and what it's like to be an independent artist. At this stage of where you're at, to create an album like this, was it important to be more independent and say, you know what, I'm going to take control of this, I'm going to release it on my own and be able to release what I want? Because I think you understand the game that goes with being with a record label. You don't have as much control, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think for this album and for where I'm at in my life, it just made perfect sense. I mean, it was a long conversation that I was having with trying to get the rights to all my previous masters back, which,
right,
you know, a lot of these deals have been signed pre-streaming. And so it was just very nebulous, like where anything was really existing. And so I spent the last year and a half trying to get all my masters back, which I was able to, and then started my label to release my new album.
What was that process like? Because I would imagine it has to be frustrating when you sit there and go, but these are mine. But this is what people don't understand sometimes. When you do sign a contract, this is where the battle becomes. It's like, yes, it is your creative property, but you also have signed on with the label. And now you're trying to retain the property. And I guess that's where the average person, and you hear more bands are doing this more now than ever, where it's like they've released albums and now they're trying to get back their property and try to re-release the albums, as you know.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately, all the labels that I had worked with in the past were independent-minded and
That's
friendly with independent musicians and supported indie musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, none of them had any problems with it. And
That's great.
I think that it was like a sort of a tedious back and forth process, you know.
So I'm gathering to create this album. I hate to say this. How many years did it take? If it took you a year and a half just to get back some of the material you wanted to get back, how many years did it take to really get this to where you needed it to be?
Yeah, I think I started writing the songs in 2002, and then was on the road with Yeah Yeahs for about a year. I mean, actually I think it was close to 18 months that we toured for a Cool It Down.
Right.
But I was writing a lot of the songs during that time. I was I've been in habit with them when I go on the road, where I am sort of constantly writing and working on my own material, my own songs. And it's actually pretty amazing experience to have, because it's, you know, I'm touring, playing these huge shows, and then experiencing sort of the reality of my situation, which is very different.
Right.
As an independent artist, and also the music that I create is very different than Yeah Yeah's music. Mm-hmm. So
it's very interesting, because you really have seen both sides of the spectrum. And so being a part of the Yeah Yeahs, here's this one side, and you kind of were part of the band I would say right around the time they probably broke bigger than they ever had, because they had the 2009 album. They had one of the biggest hits globally. So I'm imagining while you're on the road, you're experiencing this, oh, wow, moments wherever you were with the band, and kind of saying, okay, this is kind of wild. This is kind of sick.
Yeah. I mean, it's so bizarre. You know, it's a very yeah, for lack of a better word, wild experience. Like, I mean, it's just, you know, they're amazing people.
Yeah.
But sort of bringing me into the fold of this band that has like they have just such a kind of cult status with people. Like, you know, their fans are very much like just so devout. And,
Very true.
you know, I think the experience of touring the world with them, I mean, I was kind of, you know, I've had this conversation with Karen a few times about the fact that, you know, they respect me as an artist in my own right. And
Right.
it's like, I have to like really keep that reality kind of more as a dream to myself, you know?
Why is
Like,
that?
it's
Why do you
not,
think
well,
that?
because it's like, it doesn't, because it's really not my experience to have. I mean, I'm in it, but it's like not, you know, it's not me. It's not my music.
No, I get what you're saying with that. Absolutely.
So yeah, like, you know, while I can experience the joy of performing with them, it's just, yeah, it's a fully different experience, you know?
With that, though, came the relationship that you have with Karen O, and it's brought some opportunities in your life that you probably wouldn't have expected. As a matter of fact, you were involved a little bit with the film Where the Wild Things Are, which,
Yeah.
by the way, my engineer Christian found. He was like going, "Oh my God, he was involved with that movie." He was so stoked to hear that, and that had to be kind of an experience where you look back and go, "Yeah, you know what?" Because of Karen, who, yeah, well, it was
stoked.
He was stoked. Yeah, well, you were, and you still are, as a matter of fact, as he chimes in. A matter of fact, photo number one, just so I can get it out there, just so I can put the photo up and make my engineer happy. There you go, Where the Wild Things Are. And when you look back on that experience, because you are somebody, and I'm going to mention the movie you did way back in the day, but doing something like this because of Karen and that relationship, I mean, I would imagine just having that under your belt and kind of going, okay, I get to see another side of the business I never thought I'd see.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. I mean, working with, you know, with Spike and
Spike Jones, yeah.
and Karen and the group of musicians that really, that was like Karen O and the kids.
Yeah.
All of these musicians like really brought so much to this experience. But I think, like, for me, there's one song that I wrote with Karen on that record called Hideaway that I absolutely love. Like, that song, it kind of still haunts me. I think about it all the time. But yeah, it's like a really beautiful song. And just the experience of working on that film and sort of learning how to like interpret what a filmmaker is really talking about, you know,
Right.
like what they really, besides like the visual of what they're showing you, but really try to understand what it is that they want out of the music, you know, and be able to like create that in a way that is all chemical, you know,
Yeah.
that feeling. Yeah. And I think that was an incredible experience for sure.
Imaad Wasif is here on the A Game. We are going to give you a video, one of his first songs from the Super Consciousness album, which is now available. Since we're talking about movies, I do want to bring up the 2002 movie Laurel Canyon that you were in. I guess that's the surprise to me. Doing Where the Wild Things Are, you wound up in Laurel Canyon. There we go. And that movie was kind of edgy in 2002, but it was just this very cool. To me, it was like it had an indie vibe right out of the gate. The plot line, great acting, Frances McDormand, Christian Bale, Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Being involved in that whole process, you would have thought that it would have opened some more doors. I guess that's a personal decision you decided, like, because it could have opened the door more for you for acting. Let me ask it this way. What was your feeling about acting in that experience?
I mean, it was so difficult because firstly, you know, they had us with these vocal coaches because we were supposed to be a band from a certain area in England. And we had to, you know, really be practiced at this kind of this language that just felt like odd to me to be doing.
Right.
And also you're like working in the shadow of, like, I mean, Frances McDormand, I know, totally incredible, like really amazing person. I was, you know, friends with her for many years after that. I haven't been in touch with her recently, but just a very incredible person. And all the other actors like Christian Bale and that was the most bizarre experience. I mean, I have to say I was pretty terrified the entire time I was there.
I
On
can
set,
understand that. I actually
you know.
could, because you sit there and go, okay, I'm being thrown into this. You recognize Frances McDormand, and you're kind of going, I'm in this film. Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was very bizarre. Like we were on set. Like I think I had like my own trailer. It was also like right after I first moved to LA, and so for me it was like this experience that as a I think I was 24 at the time maybe, and I was completely baffled by like by how this had like kind of come my way, because I was also at the time working with Lou on a Folk Implosion record, and
Right.
we were signed to Interscope at the time,
Mhm.
and like so I was dealing with like just these kind of things that really don't exist anymore really for an independent musician, like the major label kind of money and that whole sort of situation that was going on with having to submit songs and deal with like going out to meetings with the label execs and having them like talk about your songs and like what you need to do to them and all this stuff, like very strange experience.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point, because when you came on Folk Implosion, obviously Natural One was like the monster hit for the
Right.
guys. You come into the band, and I would imagine during that time, as you talk about submitting songs and doing all the things you're doing for a major label, and they're probably, and I don't know this, but maybe you can answer it. There's got to be somebody in that room sitting there going, "We want another Natural One. Can you give
Yeah,
us another one?" I mean,
totally. They
yeah,
definitely well, it was interesting is like we worked for we were on a major label budget, which by today's standard is just astronomical. And, I was very confused at the time because we were working with a couple different producers, and it would be like, okay, let's work on this guitar solo for like a week, which is like, I usually would spend like an hour on a guitar solo
right.
or something, so, and then at the end of this sort of initial 3-month period, we submitted like I think we had finished like maybe 4 songs, which is also just like a sloth like pace for any kind of creative person to work that way. It's like it feels like purgatory,
Yeah.
But we submitted these songs. The label was like, "Great, we love them." 3 weeks later, they take us out to dinner, and they're like, "Actually, we're gonna drop you guys, and you're gonna." But they gave us back the masters, and they also, you know, gave us back. They gave us like the remainder of our budget, I think, at the time. So we were able to like make the record in a different way after that. But it was that was a really weird experience for sure.
Do things like this, when you look at creating your own album and doing it on your own, do you take some of this knowledge and say, okay, this is what I learned from this experience, and this is how I can apply it to what I'm about to do to get this album out?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I don't, I'm, I just don't waste time with second guessing myself. Really,
Smart.
it's just it's like at this point, if I'm actually going to record, like I've done the work to get to the point where I know what I want to do.
Right.
I mean, I can allow myself, the ability to explore certain things, but ultimately, like a song exists in my mind, and the vision for it is really what I'm trying to fully create. And that vision does have like a parameter to it, It's not just like completely endless.
Well, the interesting thing about the album, and I'm going to play a video in just a second. Answer me one question, because I do realize the wildfires that were happening in California. You're
Yeah.
still working on the album, so how did any of that whole process? Because I know it affected, maybe not you personally, but a lot of people around you. Did it affect how you were writing the album in any way?
I mean, it did actually affect me profoundly. I was living up there, and the house that I was living in, I was displaced for 8 months. I'm not living there anymore because basically everything around the house burned.
I'm
And
so sorry.
yeah, it's just, it did derail the whole process. I was very kind of, I think this factored into a larger sense of like feeling like what I was doing was futile in the grand scheme of things. And I
Right.
think that people struggle with this on a daily level with everything that's going on in the world right now. And really, it occurred to me at that point that that was the purpose of the record for me, was to try to transmute all of these like sort of dark feelings and dark. I mean, the reality is that it's fucking dark out there, and we are constantly feeling like voiceless and like we don't have power. We don't
At
have,
times, you're absolutely right. Yes.
So, I mean, I think for me, the completion of this record really is like symbolic of that, and like sort of taking back my power, but also being able to create something that I felt resonated in a certain way, to create a connection between people who are actually feeling this. You know, it's not specific to an event, but this feeling is like anyone that I talk to right now feels it.
Yeah, and I love the title. Now that you've explained everything, the title of the album now makes more sense than ever. Super consciousness, because you are tapping into a level of everything, with everything going on in the world and everything going on around us, not just you, just us. It makes more sense when you put it that way, and I think it's great. I think it's a great title, and I do want to bring up You're welcome. I want to bring up a quote before I play the song I'm going to play, and I was reading this, and I think you said, quote, "The old ways of the music industry are dead. Future consciousness dictates a new autonomy."
Yeah.
And I think that is something that I think every indie artist can really learn from that, because I think independent music is probably stronger than it's ever been because of the fact there are more outlets to get the music out there. You don't necessarily need the label. Yeah, you could become a little bigger with it, but if you want to carve out a niche, make a decent living, you can do it this way. There is that path.
There is that path. However, you know, we're also now unfortunately dealing with the other aspect of things, which is the streaming sites and the DSPs, and you know, actually in releasing this record, I've suffered a few lapses of like into like depression about kind of where the music is, like where it's reaching.
Right.
And I realized that I became sort of overly preoccupied with the optics and the metrics and all the numbers and all this shit. And like, I had a conversation with a really good friend of mine who told me that like every way that I was feeling is okay. Like it's these companies are basically, they're creating this atmosphere so that artists now feel like, the independent artists, even though they're on their own, you do feel like you need them in order to, like, you know, you have to buy into the system in order to get your music actually heard. So this whole, like the whole payola structure that existed in the 50s, 60s, all that, like,
I'll even take it to the 90s and early 2000s.
I mean, sure, it's just always been there, but it's like there now, and the people that are controlling it, like Spotify or whatever, you know, it's like you have to buy into the system in order to get your music heard. Like you have to like get approval to get like playlisted, or you have to, like, you know, there's still these gatekeepers for the music. So it's like, you know, on one level, it's like, yeah, it's amazing. I can write a song and record it and put it out, and it'll be streaming to you in like 3 days.
Right.
But like whether or not you're going to hear it, that's another story, because, you know, it's like if the algorithm is going to support you or whatever it is, you know.
And it's the same thing when you're talking about podcasting. It is all about the algorithm at times. So I mean, I understand the plight on a different level, but I totally understand the plight. The good thing about it is I'm glad Imaad has come on here so we can play some of his music. We do have the video for echoing, so we're going to fire that up right now and give you a sample of what this man is doing. The new album is called Super Consciousness. If you like it, go out and purchase it where you stream your music. Check this out. Imaad Wasif is here on the A Game. Here's the video.
this war. If I could do anything, I'd set you free. Darling, I don't even know anymore. If I could be anyone, would it still be me? The heart will go where it wants to go, and there's nowhere I'd rather be than down here at the bottom with you in the light in my dreams. Darling, I'm hanging from the door. I'm finally echoing and not disturbed. The heart will go where it wants to go, and there's nowhere I'd rather be than here at the start of a brand new born thing. Taking every bandage off, you gotta let it bleed. Gonna have to learn to live again without you. Gonna have to learn to live again without you. Without you. Without you.
There's the beauty and the sadness of the song echoing from Imaad Wasif from the new album Super Consciousness. You can check it out. The YouTube video is out there on YouTube. Purchase the music where you stream your music. You're not going to be disappointed. And what made you decide visually to kind of go that way with the video?
You know, that video is just like every contradictory side of myself. It's like, you know, this sort of it was filmed at the Altadena actually mausoleum and cemetery grounds, and I realized after the fact, you know, that song was written for like the kind of the end and closure of like of love, and then also a new beginning for love, but also I realized it's also weirdly for like Altadena.
Mhm.
And then another friend of mine who passed away, a painter, that's actually like when I originally written the song. And I think that just in talking about the video with the director, I just realized like how many contradictory, like opposing sides of myself I'm carrying around every single day.
Right.
And I think we just wanted to sort of bring light to that. Those like characters of like, is sort of the searcher and you know, the acolyte at the temple, and sort of this like this person who I'm, for lack of a better word again, I'm also just kind of like someone living in the annex of like the, the Nick Cave like world of like, the sort of the forlorn singer. And then and then really just like the Iggy character is definitely like this part of me that I oppress myself. Like I like put, like I'll compartmentalize. Maybe comes out when I play live, but like not in that way. That's actually probably like I'm another one of the things I'm terrified is like taking my shirt off in public. So that was like that was a big deal for me.
Is it cathartic in a sense when you do something that's so different, and when it comes out and you look at it and you kind of go, wow, and you feel differently after you watch the end result?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's all just like I'm trying to push myself into that zone more and more. Like at 100% go out of your comfort zone. Like it's like that's the only way you can really grow.
Oh, it's true. It's absolutely true.
Like it's like there's no also it's like, this sort of fear of constant judgment has been like an ongoing thing for me in my life, and I'm trying to get out of that place of thought.
That's a hard thing to deal with when you're kind of being a singer-songwriter and trying to be in front of people and trying to be like, hey, look, I'm doing this for me, but I also hope you're going to like it. And you want to be somewhat accepted. I mean, we're not exactly doing this not to be. So you wrestling with that. Believe me, I understand it on another level, is because I'm doing radio for 30 years. It's like, yeah, you're putting yourself out there. You want to be accepted, because if you're not accepted, you're going to be out of a job. I mean, it kind of goes with the territory. So, and you understand what I mean by that. If you do get more acceptance, then it's like, okay, I can go on the road, I can do shows, and it kind of parlays itself. But at the same token, you still got to be good with your own self, or else then the whole process can't work.
Right. Yeah. No, that's very true. And I think for me also, this idea of unification through music has become much more important to me as I continue to create music. I see myself as serving that idea through anything that I'm doing, really. Like there's no, while the songs may be personal, they're constantly I'm constantly looking at them as in a way to like achieve a kind of universality to them. That it's really just because I think my antenna is always up, and I'm so sort of I react so much to like the energy around me and the people around me and sort of what I'm feeling coming back at me. So I realized, with this record for sure, like there's a few songs like the song Believe, which I've already gotten like a lot of, I've gotten an equal amount of love and an equal amount of hate for that song. Like, strangely, people just sort of like not being able to connect to the sentiment. And really it's about, pushing yourself beyond. Like we are all like in danger of becoming faithless, like not being able to find a center.
Right.
And like, I personally need to find that, I need to have that. And I feel like if we don't find that as a society and as a world, like we're not going to be able to like get through like what is coming.
Right. Is it frustrating when you have something like that and people are just not getting it? It kind of comes with the territory, but have you been able to handle that a little better and just kind of say, all right, look, I can't get the message out to everybody. Whoever gets it, that's great. I'm glad I'm reaching some people with all this.
Yeah, I mean, that is a really beautiful thing. Usually it's a person who reaches out to me with like such such an intense kind of interpretation of the song. But yeah, like in terms of like having a thick skin, I can say like, I have to take it day by day, because it's like some days I feel like, it can like actually affect me very deeply,
Human condition, Imaad, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, like when someone actually reaches out to me, I always think back to this, like there's a documentary, I think it's there's like this John Lennon footage where this guy's like sort of shows up at his door and I think it maybe he's even talking about Imagine. I can't remember what song specifically, but he thinks the song was like written specifically for him, and John's just like, no, it's just a song. Like, I just wrote it, you know, like, but I kind of don't believe that. I don't know. I feel like, you know, it's not just a song, you know, nothing's just a song. Like it's like, this is like something that is, I mean, if you actually really think about what music is, it's like impossible to articulate. Like when a song connects to you and actually pulls like emotion out of you,
yes,
and like just completely changes your feeling. I mean, that is like, what else really does that? There's not a lot that can do that to you.
It's very, very true. It's a great point. And I think it kind of sets up where I'm going next, because I'm going to do random shots with Imaad Wasif. Again, Super Consciousness is the album. This is a little bit of the fun area that I like to go to, but I think this is a perfect way to segue into this, because as you talk about music and how it does affect you and how it kind of, like you said, there is a bond with music. When it hits you, you do feel it, and you are expressing yourself in your own way. So when it comes to that, getting into this business as a kid, I'm sure you listened to a bunch of albums. What was that album that did it for you? Or what song did it for you that kind of just made you say, okay, I really want to do this with my life?
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, that's probably going to be like Manic Depression by Jimi Hendrix Experience. Like, yeah, like that song. I mean, still I can put that song on and I like just want to, you know, like I want to drive off a cliff in a great way, kind of, or whatever, just like destroy my room in a beautiful way. Like, it's just like, there's something about the power in that song.
Wow.
That I always have connected to. Also, it's like my two favorite guitar solos, that one, and then the guitar solo on Machine Gun from the Band of Gypsies record. Like, those are two, like, just my favorite guitar solos ever. So,
you know, and then you're not going to get me to argue with that. And I work for a rock station, so I'm sitting there going, yep. No,
yeah.
Absolutely. Random shots with Imaad Wasif. I found this photo on your Instagram. I think it's number 2. I believe this is your son, if I'm not mistaken. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I think, first off, it's an adorable photo. Yeah, hit it, Christian. Yeah, there we go. And there's consciousness right there. You come from a family that was very supportive of your music. So is he interested in music? And if he is, how supportive are you being in the, because I'm sure he's still young.
Oh yeah, he's 12. He's a cellist, and he's incredible. Like, he's got the bug. Like, I didn't force it on him at all. And it's like, he's interested in rock music, and he's seen me play in both ways, like with Yeah-Yeahs, he's seen me play on my own. But I think when he found cello, he was like, okay, this is my thing. And then really he just, on his own, I can see what's happening to him is what happened to me when I found guitar. Wow. Where he's just like, you know, locking himself in his room and just like fully going into like going so deep with the instrument, you know?
Right. It's got to feel good in a sense, you know, you can sit there and go, okay, I love my son. He's a great kid, and I can bond with him a little bit over this because I know the feelings that he's having right now, and I know the passion that he's having right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's actually really amazing. I mean, the other thing I'm very thankful for is that the only thing he's bringing back from me, like, he's like, hey, have you heard this unreleased Chopin piece, or have you heard this Shostakovich piece? And I was like, I'm not like that.
Right.
I don't know that much about classical music, so it's like,
yeah, but I'm sure you impressed your son by actually pronouncing Shostakovich correctly. So there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like very cool to me, though. You know, it's like I'm not having to deal with like, hey, can I play you this Sabrina Carpenter song or whatever? You know, it's like I'm very grateful for that. And yeah, like he actually, that shirt that he's wearing and that he helped me, we silk screened some T-shirts. And,
I did see. As a matter of fact, Christian, can you pitch up a photo number 4 just to defend what Imaad was talking about? No, not the other one. The other one down in the corner, the silk screening one. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was cool. When I saw that, I'm like, oh wow. You know, he looks like he was. You can tell by his face, like he's into this. He's enjoying it, which is great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So that is the beauty of, like, I think people always say, like, you're not going to know until you have a child, like, and I didn't know until he was born, until he really became like a rational being on his own path.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. You grew up in Vancouver. Is there a spot growing up that you remember that kind of vividly says, okay, this is one of my favorite spots, whether it's a restaurant, a park, or whatever? Anything that stands out when I say that?
No, well, I mean, I actually moved away from there at 3, so I don't
Oh,
have
okay. Then there's
a great
nothing
memory
that's
of
going to
it.
remember. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, yeah, I grew up mostly in the desert.
Okay. So, I mean, obviously, the different cultures. So we will take that question. We will throw that out. I give you one more and we're with this. Because, again, you made the conscious decision that acting was just not your thing at that point. But let's say you decided you wanted to go back to that well. Is there any what vibe would you want to go for? I would imagine drama would probably be the place you would go. Would you want to do, I don't know. I can't see you just getting to know you here. I'm going comedy. It'd be a dark comedy. Yes, without a doubt. But I mean,
comedy is like, to me, that is like the dark art. I mean, the most amazing thing to me about comedy, and I've always had a secret fantasy about managing a comedian.
Wow.
But you cannot fake it. That's the one art form you cannot fake. Like, you can kind of fake music, you can fake painting, you can fake like acting, like whatever. You can't stand in front of somebody and make them laugh.
Right.
It's that I always view like comedy as some superpower. Yeah, no, I mean, unfortunately, David Lynch has passed on now, but like, that's the kind of film that I would love to be in. Obviously,
I can see that. Yeah.
Just yeah.
We never say never. You never know what's going to come down the pike. Yeah. So I mean,
I love all that stuff, like those old like Buñuel films. I love those films too. So anyway, yeah.
I will mention Super Consciousness is the album. It is available for download. Imaad Wasif's album is well worth checking out. Do that. You saw the video for Echoing. Please watch it again on YouTube when you get a chance. Going out on the road anytime soon this summer by any chance?
Working on some stuff. It's difficult right now. It's like I'm trying to tour this band, or trying to tour this record with a 5-piece band, and it's like quite a difficult logistical thing to work out, but I have some kind of like LA area shows that I'm working on, but as of right now, no like major tour yet.
Okay, we'll keep our eyes open for it. I know you've been in the AAS, you've done touring with the AAS, so I mean, you would be open to possibly jumping on board with those guys in a heartbeat, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started playing with them, I actually opened a lot of the shows. I had put out, like, it was just the year that I put my first solo record out, but and this last summer we did a tour that was kind of reimagining the whole AAS catalog, and we played all these halls. Like, we got to play Royal Albert Hall, which was insane.
Very cool.
And it was kind of doing the songs through a symphonic lens, like with a quartet, and like mostly acoustic, but still with the sort of punk and like the vulnerable aspect of the band intact. But yeah, I opened a few of those shows solo, which were actually so powerful. Like, those were such great shows for me. Like, just there's an aspect of being able to sort of play to that many people, and to do it like solo acoustic is like, I don't know. There's this feeling that you get that isn't kind of matched in any other way, like by like a rock show for me, because it's like you feel like you're literally having an intimate conversation with 3,000 people or whatever it is.
And you notice it's kind of I won't say a lost art, because you do see a few bands every year go do the acoustic tour thing. And I've always been a fan of it. And I'd like to see more bands do it, because it is kind of simple and you can strip it down. And that's the thing. Artists will tell stories when they do that. And then you have a chance to kind of make it like, hey, we're all getting together. Here's my conversation. I can tell you a little bit of a background, and it does have more of an intimate vibe, and it does open up, more of the storytelling of a song, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So a lot of things. Hopefully, we'll look forward to. Fingers crossed. Come out on the East Coast. I'll be there for damn sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate your time. Imaad Wasif, thank you so much. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Don't forget my YouTube channel. Just subscribe for free and check out the other 130 some odd episodes I got here. For Imaad, I'm Rob Acampora. Have yourself a great weekend ahead and joyous Passover and happy Easter. Take care of yourselves. See you soon.